you would want to live in a world where the U.S. is the controlling power, way more than none. Given even all of our diminish the 2000 attack in Mumbai, again, Islamic terrorists, or the smaller deadly attacks and near misses elsewhere. They don't. As a consequence, they're less dependent on support from the central command, which is now that great lion is dumped into the sea. I would have dumped it into a fucking toxic waste dump in New Jersey if I had a chance to do it. It'll morph according to its circumstances. Always opportunistic. Again, they're thinking too, it's going to attempt to exploit new grievances, join new conflicts. Palestinians, again, over a long term, its expectations may become irrelevant, even to those it claims to represent. They don't really give a shit about the Palestinians. I'm telling you guys, really, they do not care. The Islamic regimes that run all of these countries are the most repressive regimes of any countries on earth. There's very few countries that treat their people, their populations, as bad as these Islamic countries do. It's a fact. When I talk to people, I go, oh, that's, you know, they deserve all the rights, you know, that's a religion of peace and all that. And I say, well, look, if you can't live in the United States, which country would you pick to live in? And people say, well, Canada, or maybe even Mexico, if we could get to a safe place where there's not a drug cartel killing people, or you know, maybe Argentina or something like that. England, that's cool. France. But wait a minute, you didn't say Yemen. You didn't say Qatar. You didn't say Pakistan. Why don't we want to live there? Make your own assumption. Jihadist terrorist strategy puts increased emphasis on homegrown terrorism. That's what they're doing. They are actively promoting that. It's a little bit about what they do. These guys are actually going to these training camps in Pakistan and Somalia and all those places, and coming back to the United States, or training there and then emigrating to the United States. That's what's going on. The failed Times Square bomber received his training in abroad. I think it was in Somalia, I'm not sure. And at least another 30 left in the United States, to actively go to the same terrorist training. We track these guys. Ones that are above the radar, we track them, watch where they are, we know what they do. But again, it's amazing how they can drop off the radar. Okay? And that's just the guys that we can kind of track. There's hundreds and hundreds that we don't even know about right now. It's not the United States is not immune to the phenomenon of homegrown terrorism. According to a recent study by RAND, between 2001 and then in 2009, 46 known cases of Americans attempting to join jihadist terrorist groups abroad, who provide them with material assistance, flying attacks, and carried out in the United States. This is RAND. RAND is a big think tank. It's one of the highest regarded repositories of information and analysis about this type of stuff it is. Without a major attack on American soil or on Americans abroad, the public has been sliding towards a dangerous complacency. Americans expect wars to be fought with zero casualties. They expect to live in a risk-free environment. That is unrealistic. Again, not my words. The spokesman appealed to an American audience. Again, we talked about the prison population. They also have, there's jihadist magazines online that teach you how to do all kinds of stuff, and build bombs, and be a bad guy, and kill Americans. We're only beginning to comprehend the consequences of this communication. Again, they're computer savvy just like we are. They're still obsessed with attacking airliners. And if you heard al-Zawahiri the other day, again, we're going to rain airplanes down upon your cities. The threat is real. Again, not my words. The threat to public surface transportation is not hypothetical. It's well rehearsed and it's well established. The trains and buses, and they bombed the subways in England in 2005 when it was. Again, if we had more subways, they'd be bombing more subways here in the U.S. That threat is real. I was in D.C. a year ago, and there was an active threat against the trains in the D.C. area. There's more about D.C. at the moment. Daily News, Washington Bureau. Terrorist group tied to the Fort Hood killings and the Christmas Day air bomber urged wannabe American jihadis to open fire on crowded restaurants in the nation's capital. Now, if you've ever been around D.C., a lot of the senators, a lot of the aides, a lot of the people that are, quote unquote, our government, they go out to eat in restaurants just like you and I do. And they have lunch hours. Sometimes they don't eat in the Capitol cafeterias. And one of the things that they ID'd was, hey, man, we could take out a restaurant, we might get 3 or 4 senators, congressmen. Wow, that's a nice target. Again, that's their words. Random hit at a crowded restaurant in D.C. at lunch hour might end up knocking out a few government employees. Yaha Ibrahim writes in the 74-page Jihadi How-To magazine. Targeting such employees is paramount. That means very important. We give the operation additional media attention. America's top counter-terror officials, for the first time on Thursday, expect the Somali extremist group to emerge as a major U.S. threat. You guys ever been to Minneapolis? It has the largest Somali population outside Somalia. Okay? Okay? They're Muslim. Okay? They bring their ideas with them. They've hooked up with Al-Qaeda in the Arab Peninsula. Okay? So now those guys are in cahoots. And there's a lot of them. If you go to the airport in Minneapolis, every service employee is Somali. They're not Mexicans, they're Somalis. Remain vigilant. If Al-Shabaab, that's their terrorist organization, expand its focus. We're getting close to the end. From fighting to control Somalia to plotting to attack the U.S. The Somali group publicly aligns itself with Yemen's Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula. Clapper, who is the director of National Intelligence, pegged as America's greatest threat. They were energized. They were the ones who tried to take down the UPS planes and the Christmas Day bomb. America's top counter-terror official on Thursday to expect the Somali extremist group to emerge as a major new threat to the U.S. homeland. It aligns itself with the Arabian Al-Qaeda, and that was James Clapper. Now, who is that man?
It's the guy who found the Times Square bomb.
That is a guy who I've known for over 20 years. And he was a friend of ours. He would come to the knife shows. We would talk. He's an old Vietnam vet. He also sells T-shirts on the street in Times Square. He is the man who saw the guy jump out of the van, run away, decided it looked fishy, because what was going on across the street was there was an outside DJ, and there was probably 200 kids out there listening to this DJ about 30 feet from that van. That's why he parked there. He heard, he saw it, he walked over to it, he smelled something, he called NYPD. Now, the guy effed up in his execution of the bomb, but he might not have given any other circumstances. It didn't go off, but it was a bomb, and it would have killed a large number of those kids standing on that street. This is an average American citizen who was at the front lines at the right moment and decided, I got to check this out. And I've seen his commendation from the President of the United States, from Rudy Giuliani, from the U.S. Army, from all the different organizations. This is Lance Orton. He happened to be a friend of mine, and when he came up and talked to me after this all happened, I didn't put 2 and 2 together. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. It's because he took the initiative to save, step up, and be a counter-terrorist operator. He was at the incident. Every citizen has that potential. Every one of you has that potential here. Every one of you is a protector. Every one of you can make a huge difference. You can save. You may be the person who saves thousands of lives. It's incumbent upon you to take that initiative and step up to the plate. And I know you're all capable of it. I thank you very much. I appreciate all your time.